Brightburn is about a couple from Kansas, played by Elizabeth Banks and Roy from The Office, who live on a farm, and they desperately want a child, and then one day a spaceship crashes near their house with a baby boy inside who they decide to raise as their own. As he gets older, he discovers that he has superhuman powers of flight, strength, speed, invulnerability, and laser beam shooting eyes, but instead of saving the world, he starts killing people. It's a horror movie version of the Superman origin story. And that sounds kind of cool, and going in, I thought it sounded interesting, but it doesn't sound really scary, and that sums up this film for me. They try to make it scary, and it's not scary. And in trying to scare us, I think that the film sacrifices its premise and the cool ideas that it could have focused on. My main problem was the kid just seems to suddenly become evil. There were no hints in the opening that there was some kind of darkness lurking underneath the surface. He's just like a normal kid, and then one night the spaceship starts talking to him and suddenly he's evil. It's the same problem that I had with Dark Phoenix. If it's not the character making choices, which it doesn't seem like it is here, and they're being controlled by some kind of outside force, then I just find it really hard to care. His change in attitude and demeanour from shy, normal boy to how does no one see that this kid is obviously like a serial killer is too sudden, and it feels lazy. It would have been more interesting if it was gradual. He gets his powers, and instead of being a perfect human child like Clark Kent was, he's flawed in all the ways that a young boy is when he hits puberty. Only its symptoms are heightened and pushed to the extremes by the addition of him basically being a god. The film does more than hint that he is the way he is, because they're like that wherever he comes from, and it's beyond his control. So it's only a little interesting once it gets going, and it's not scary. The kid is always like stalking people and appearing in windows and mirrors where the characters can't see him, like he's the ghost in a different kind of horror film, and that goes on for ages. And all I keep thinking is, why the fuck is he doing that? If his goal was to scare them, it might make sense, but it just feels forced. And why is he killing chickens and stuff like that? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't help that there's this constant ominous horror movie music playing all the time, even at the start when we're supposed to think that like everything is normal. There are some good kills where they make use of his powers, but I would have liked more. Like when he kills someone with his heat vision, that was really cool. It was the kind of thing I was expecting given this premise. It would have worked better if it was more of a slasher style of horror than like a haunting one. And you see hints of that in how graphically violent some of the deaths are. Seriously, how did this film only get a 15 rating here? It's very over the top in a good way, but it also comes like out of nowhere. It was very unexpected. I think the reason the film is the way that it is due to the budget. You can tell that they didn't really have a lot of money to spend on too many visual effects of him like flying around or using super speed or anything like that. And the suddenness of the character's changes aren't helped by how short the film is and how quickly it moves. The scene-to-scene editing isn't great. It's very basic, like the kid does this thing and then cut to a new scenario, then cut to a new one, daytime, then nighttime, and then daytime again, then nighttime. It doesn't flow very well, and it's just pretty standard, and I felt the same way about the look of the film and the movement of the camera. It's weird that it's mostly from the parents' perspective, and there are a lot of scenes where they're alone talking about their son, but they never talk about the fact that they found him in a spaceship in the woods. I mean, they eventually do at like the halfway point of the movie, but it never comes up before, and thinking back on it, it's really weird. There's a scene where the kid is caught in a wardrobe while he's stalking someone, and I don't know why, but I just love the reaction of the guy who catches him. He's just like, what the fuck are you doing? Why are you wearing a creepy mask? Like, it felt very realistic, and it was kind of funny. I know that we're supposed to sympathize with the mother character because it's her kid, and of course she's going to defend him and say things like, my son would never do that. But it goes on a bit too long, and I kind of started to hate her. I thought the dad was the most sympathetic character because he understands there's a situation and things are going wrong, but he just doesn't know how to handle it. But the ma is just like, no, everything's fine. He's our son. We love him. No, like you should have figured this out ages ago. When the mother realizes what the son's weakness is and she says it out loud to herself near the end of the film, it annoyed me because I had figured it out about an hour ago, and that's not a brag or something. It's just really obvious. They could have come up with a better way to remind the audience of this information without resorting to that. I think I've heard people refer to this as a kind of deconstruction of superhero stories and the Superman story in particular, but I don't think that it's deep enough or explored enough to be called a deconstruction. Like, what is it trying to say? That if Superman hadn't turned out good, it would have been scary and not good for the world?
What if Superman had decided to fly down, rip off the roof of the White House, and grab the President of the United States right out of the Oval Office?
I'm going to give Brightburn a C. I didn't like it that much, but it was sometimes entertaining and a couple of the deaths were fun and gruesome. I think it might have worked better if I didn't know what it was about going in. Like if they hadn't revealed that it was evil Superman in the trailer. But I have no idea how they would have marketed it otherwise. While I was watching it, I kept thinking how impactful it would have been if I had had no idea what was happening. And then I would slowly realise it. Wait a minute, is this Superman? A bit like Cabin in the Woods. The script just isn't that clever. All the work's already been done by previous Superman writers, and there just isn't that much inventiveness or any real surprises added to make the film more memorable. Thank you very much for watching my review. Please like and subscribe, it helps the channel grow, and follow me on Twitter at LukeToTheMovies. Please comment down below and let me know if you've seen Brightburn, what you thought of it, liked it, disliked it, agree with my comments, disagree, or if you have any ones of your own. I'll be back soon with more reviews, and I will see you then.